Everybody, it's Mrs. Delveni. I hope you guys had a great Memorial Day weekend. I'm excited because I have something fun to share with you today. It is actually a chapter book, which chapter books are usually read by big kids and grown-ups because they don't have typically very many pictures. So you have to be a super good reader or a super good listener to really enjoy a chapter book. You guys might not be able to read yet, but we're learning our letters, so that's the first step, right? But you are very good listeners, and it's something that we all need to practice all the time. So I thought it would be fun to read this story called Up the Faraway Tree by a very famous author named Enid Blyton, who actually lives in the country called England where Mrs. Fiona grew up. So my mom and dad are English. So when I was a little girl, I used to read a lot of these stories as well. And they're pretty magical. So I thought it would be a fun one to share with our class. Okay, so today we're going to read the first chapter. And then tomorrow we'll read another chapter and another one after that until the end of school. Okay, so I hope you like it. I hope you like the characters. And I found a really nice, soft, cozy place to sit and read this story. So since there won't be many pictures to look at, why don't you guys get blankets, get pillows, and get comfortable. And for this story, you're really going to have to use your own imaginations. So you listen to the words as I read them, and then picture in your mind what all of the different things and people look like. Okay. Up the Faraway Tree by Enid Blyton. Off to the enchanted wood. Once there were two children called Robin and Joy, and they read about a place called the Faraway Tree. Let's go and find it, they said. We can find the children who live there. Their names are Joe, Beth, and Franny. Let's ask them to take us to the enchanted tree. Soon they came to the cottage where Joe and the girls lived. They were so happy to see them. Come on, said Joe. We'll take you to the enchanted wood, or forest, and show you the faraway tree. So off they went. They came to the enchanted forest. It was dark and mysterious. Jump over this ditch, said Joe. We'll follow that path. Down the winding path they went to the middle of the forest, and there they saw a most extraordinary tree. It was very, very big. It reaches to the clouds, said Joe. And look, lots of people walk up and down the tree. I want to climb it, said Joy. Let's. I've always wanted to go up the faraway tree. So Joe helped her up. It was a very strange tree. Look, there are oranges growing here, said Joy, and she picked one. But a little further up, there were apples and pears. How strange. Then suddenly Joy cried out, Look, there's a little window in the tree. I really want to peep inside. And then what a shock she got. An angry pixie lived there, and he didn't like people peeping at him. He threw a jug of milk all over Robin and Joy. Joe wiped their clothes. The angry pixie always does that, he said. Never mind, you can peep in at the next window. So they did, and they saw the owl asleep with his red nightcap on. He looks nice, said Beth. Little people passed them up and down the tree. There were brownies, pixies, fairies, witches, and even rabbits and squirrels. This is an exciting tree, said Joy. Oh, what is that slishy, sloshy noise? Look, there's water coming down the tree. Sure enough, a cascade of soapy water came pouring down the tree. Robin got soaked, but Joy hid under a branch. It's Dame Wash-A-Lot's dirty water, said Joe. Look, there she is, washing up there in her tub on that branch. And there she was. She waved to the children. Did my soapy water catch you? So sorry. I didn't know you were there. Dame Wash-A-Lot had put her clothes to dry on a branch, and baby squirrels were sitting on them to keep them safe. That was nice. Look, here's a little yellow door, said Joy. Who lives there? Knock and see, said Joe. So Joy knocked, and the door flew open, and there stood little Silky, the pixie, her golden hair in a cloud around her face. "Hello," she said. "Are these friends of yours, Joe? How nice. Let's go up and see Mr. Moonface. Come on." So up the tree they went, and suddenly they saw someone sitting in a deck chair, fast asleep, with his mouth wide open. "That's Mr. What's-his-name," said Joe. "Oh," said Robin, "I must drop this plum into his mouth." Wasn't that naughty? He dropped the plum in before Joe could stop him, and What's-his-name swallowed it whole. He woke up and began to choke. Joe had to bang him so hard on the back that his deck chair fell down the tree. A loud roar came up. "Who's throwing chairs at me? I'll come up and get you." Up came a very peculiar man. He wore a saucepan for a hat and was hung all round with jangling pans and kettles. "It's the old saucepan man," cried Joy, and she hugged him. "I've always wanted to meet you." Saucepan forgot about the chair that had hit him. He smiled. "Let's go and see Mr. Moonface and have tea," he said. So up they went to Moonface's door at the top of the tree. It opened, and there stood Mr. Moonface. "Come in," said Moonface. "You're just in time. I've got some snacks." He led them into his room. It was quite round. The furniture stood neatly around the inside of the tree trunk. Moonface brought out some candies called toffee shocks. "What's that hole in the middle of the room?" asked Robin, peering down it. "Where does it go?" "It goes to," began Joe, and then he laughed. "Look at Joy. Her toffee shock has got enormous. Now it's burst, and Joy's so surprised." Moonface took them to the branch outside his room. He pointed to where a yellow ladder led up through a hole in the clouds. "See that?" he said. "That leads to whatever land is at the top of the tree today. They change all the time. Would you like to go?" "What land is it?" asked Joy. "The land of smacks," said Moonface. So nobody wanted to go. "Need a cushion?" said Moonface. "You can slide down my hole from the top of the tree to the bottom on my cushions." "Here's one for you, Joe." Soon they were all whizzing down the exciting slippery slip inside the tree, round and round and down and down. Joy shot out through a little door at the bottom of the tree and landed neatly on a mossy cushion. "That was so fun," she said. Then all the others shot out too. A little squirrel ran up to collect the cushions and take them back to Moonface. "Well, that was a most exciting afternoon," said Robin and Joy. "Why don't you come again next week?" said Joe. "There'll be an exciting land to see then, and we'll visit it." So there you go. I hope you liked that. The next chapter is called The Land of Castles. So at the top of this magic tree where all of these different magical people live, every day a new land, a new kind of like a planet really, appears at the top of the tree, and you can climb up the ladder to go and visit. But if I remember correctly, you have to be very careful that you pay attention to time, because otherwise, when the land moves away and another one comes back, you might get stuck. So I'm excited tomorrow to read you The Land of Castles, and I hope you liked this. Bye.